Welcome to Grand Slam, where television history will be made. For the first time, the greatest game show champions will gather on the same field of battle, and only one will reign supreme. From Jeopardy champions to millionaire winners, pop culture masters to word wizards, 16 of the game show world's elite have been seated based on how much they've won. To compete in the most challenging game ever played, a winner-take-all tournament to finally prove who is the best of the best. At stake, a $100,000 grand prize, the coveted Grand Slam Crystal Trophy, and the right to be called America's greatest game show player. On the most difficult game on television, who can withstand the pressure? Who will win? Grand Slam. Tonight, the game show world's all-American favorite son, Jeopardy's Ken Jennings, meets up with a new face in the game show world, the super-confident Victor Lee, whose team won $250,000 on the 2007 World Series of Pop Culture. And after that, Millionaire's biggest money winner ever, Dr. Kevin Olmsted, takes on one of the weakest links finest, Michelle Kidd. Champions meet on tonight's opening round of Grand Slam.
Hey folks, Dennis Miller here, joined above the fray in the ether by my good friend Amanda Byram. Welcome you to Grand Slam. Tonight, for the biggest game show champions ever will play their opening round matchups in this 16-player tournament, which will determine who will take home the $100,000 and earn the right to be called the greatest contestant in all the land.
Now, first up, Ken Jennings, the man, the myth, the legend, takes on the upstart, Victor Lee, a confident, fresh-out-of-college kid who just won $250,000 with two NYU classmates on the 2007 World Series of Pop Culture. Why don't we get to know them a bit better?
Ken Jennings, Seattle, Washington. I was on Jeopardy for 75 shows back in 2004. And without a doubt, the wildest experience of my life. What is Biladu? Yes. So I guess the main thing I bought with the money is just time to be a better dad. Dylan was very into Jeopardy. The whole summer when I was on, he was actually calling me Ken Jennings instead of Dad.
I'm going to show you some stuff. We'll do books. We react up ahead.
Yeah, I really like being Mr. Mom. Is Dad going to win Grand Slam?
I think he is.
I'm going to come in and they're going to see me as a target. Like, to them, I've got a big bullseye on my shirt as soon as I walk in.
I want a piece of Ken Jennings. Ken, I'm coming for you. Victor Lee, Leonia, New Jersey. I was on the World Series of Pop Culture. Me and my two friends split $250,000.
Austin Powers for the advance. Gets him with the stiletto heel.
Twisted Misters are the champions of the 2007 World Series of Pop Culture.
My life really didn't change much after Pop Culture. Still live at home, still kind of working the same boring job. I spend most of my free time, you know, just watching a lot of TV, I guess. Everything I've learned from television. Taught me more than any teacher ever has. Like that much. My prediction, I'm gonna win it all. There's gonna be some close games, but in the end, you know, it's just be, Victor, the winner.
And there they are, backstage, mentally preparing themselves for David versus Ken Lyeth. Amanda, does the kid stand a chance, or is he going to get stomped?
Well, here's the thing. Ken Jennings, I mean, all hail at the feet of Ken Jennings. This guy is the most famous contestant on Jeopardy ever. 74-game winning streak over a period of 4 months, winning $2.5 million. The guy is a genius, and his mental recall is second to none. And in comes this kid, 23 years of age, confident as confident can be, huge edge on pop culture, and the thing is, he has nothing to lose.
All right, so now it's time for Ken and Victor to enter the arena. And while they prepare for battle, it's time for the rules. Grand Slam is played over 4 rounds. General knowledge, numbers and logic, words and letters, and a final mixed round. Now, both contestants begin each round with 1 minute on their clocks. Once a contestant gives a correct answer, his clock stops, and his opponent begins to count down. The player whose clock runs out first loses the round, and his opponent keeps whatever time remains on his own clock to play with in the final decisive round.
That's right, it's all about timing. Now, each contestant has 3 switches to use at any time over the 4 rounds. If a player doesn't like a question, he can simply switch it over to his opponent. So it looks like our players are ready for round one. So for the first time tonight, they are now in the control of the questioner.
Contestants, take your positions.
Good luck. Good luck, man.
Round one is a general knowledge round. Earlier you tossed a coin to see who should go first, and Ken, you lost, so you'll answer the first question. Your clock will start to count down now. What animals are named after the Greek words for fearfully great lizards?
Dinosaurs.
Correct. Victor, who wrote the novel Murder on the Orient Express?
Christie.
Correct. Ken, in 2003, who became the youngest actor ever to win the Best Actor Academy Award?
Adrian Brody.
Correct. Victor, what historic document was signed at Runnymede in 1215?
Magna Carta?
Correct. Ken, besides Mercury, what is the only major planet in our solar system without a moon?
Venus.
Correct. Victor, what is the Greek equivalent of the Roman god Neptune?
Uranus.
Poseidon. Martin Luther King Jr. gave his I Have a Dream speech on the steps of what Washington, D.C. landmark?
The Washington Monument.
Lincoln Memorial. What is the only current NFL team that incorporates numbers into its team name?
49ers.
Correct. Ken, what brand of peanut butter shares its name with a literary character
Peter Pan.
known? Correct. Victor, the Punic Wars were fought between Rome and what other ancient
Carthage.
city-state? Correct. Ken, how many ounces are currently in a standard 7-Eleven Big Gulp?
35.
32. The 2005 film Good Night and Good Luck takes its title from a sign-off used by who?
Edward R. Murrow.
Correct. Victor, what is the chemical symbol for helium?
He.
Correct. Ken, what infectious disease gets its name from an Italian phrase meaning bad air?
Malaria.
Correct. Victor, in 2003, actress Gwyneth Paltrow married Chris Martin, the lead singer of what?
Coldplay.
Correct. Ken, what current African country was formerly known as French Sudan?
Ethiopia.
Mali. Ken, in 2002, Switzerland became the 190th member state to be admitted to
United
what?
Nations.
Correct. Victor, which Stanley Kubrick film was released in 1999 after his death?
Eyes Wide Shut.
Correct. Ken, name one of the two cities where U.S. coins for general circulation are minted for the
Philadelphia.
Treasury. Correct. Victor, what yodeling folk singer reached number 4 on the Billboard 200 with the debut album Pieces of You?
Hello.
Correct. Ken, who starred as Batman in the movie Batman Returns?
Val Kilmer.
Michael Keaton. What is the last name of the popular Ken, you're out of time, McGraw was the final answer. Victor, you keep 8.7 seconds to take through to the final round.
That was something else.
It's like Sundance versus Billy the Kid there. And a couple observations. As we saw from Victor's misanswer on the Jupiter question, it never serves one well to utter the word Uranus in public. And Ken Jennings didn't know about the Big Gulp because since he won the big bucks, he is not eating at 7-Eleven anymore.
That is right. Like I said, Victor had the edge on pop culture, and I know that that was a general trivia round, but I think that's what gave him the edge with those 8 seconds.
Listen, the key in this is when you're young, you got to come in fearless. You cannot be sitting back there thinking this is Ken
That's
Jennings. You think this is an old man, and I'm going to whack him. Well, Ken and Victor will return to face the deadly number and logic round right after this break. Don't miss it.
Coming up, can Ken Jennings, the seemingly invincible Jeopardy champion, stage a comeback? Or will the 23-year-old upstart Victor Lee shock the world? Find out when Grand Slam returns.
Hey, folks, welcome back to Grand Slam. Tonight's competition is well underway between the number 2 seed, Ken Jennings. He's taking on the number 15 seed, youngster Victor Lee. And I will say this, we're all still reeling from that amazing performance by Victor in the first round. What do the stats show there, Amanda?
Well, I have to say very, very close. I think what Victor did here, he got 6 right in a row, and that gave him the edge because Ken actually got 8 out of 11 right. Victor got 8 out of 10 right, but it was that 6 in a row that gave Victor the edge. Well, coming up now is something that we're not used to seeing on U.S. game shows. This is about doing mathematical equations, computations at lightning speed in their heads. I know you're good at that, Dan.
Yeah, there's a lot of space to work in these heads. We'll see whether Ken or Victor comes out on top in numbers and logic. Once again, they are now in the control of the questioner.
Contestants, take your position. Round 2 is the numbers and logic round. You both have 3 switches left to use. Victor, you'll be going first in this round. Your clock will begin to count down now. What is 9 times 7 divided by 3?
66.
21. How is 79 expressed in Roman numerals?
LXXIX.
Correct. Ken, what is 45 squared?
Pass.
2025. What is the next number in this sequence?
13.
Correct. Victor, what is 84 times 40?
Pass.
3360. If A equals 1 and Z equals 26,
49.
then what is X plus Y? Correct. Victor, a trapezoid has how many sides?
5.
4. Express 7 p.m. in military time.
18.
1900 hours. What is 60% of 110?
66.
Correct. Ken, what is 4.7 plus 5.6?
10.3.
Correct. Victor, if it's 1st and 10 in an NFL game, how many feet does the offense need for a first down?
10.
30.
Oh.
What is 24.9 minus 15.7?
9.2.
Correct. Ken, if the 13th of the month falls on a Friday, what day of the week did the month begin?
The Saturday.
Sunday. How many teaspoons are in 1 cup?
16.
48. What is 9 times 9 minus 9?
72.
Correct. Victor, you're out of time. The correct answer to this question is 9. Ken, you keep 31.62 seconds to take through to the final round.
Not only did Jennings shut me up, he slowed him down. What'd you see?
It's no surprise. Victor has said that this was going to be his weak round. And, you know, Ken was a computer programmer, so he did have a slight edge in the numbers and logic, but he's made up his time, and so here we go. But it just goes to show you that if you kind of take your time on one question, your time's gone like that.
Yeah,
It's not about the right answers.
Maybe Ken was giving him credit, but somewhere in his head after that first round, he was thinking the old man's got a hitch in his giddy-up, and Jennings just shut him up. They're walking off the stage for a quick rest to prepare themselves for the rest of the game. How's it looking after 2 rounds of that?
Well, Dennis, it's very, very close. These two guys are really evenly matched. Ken Jennings, 12 out of 18 correct. Victor Lee, 11 out of 18. But Ken has 2 advantages here. First of all, he has all of his switches left, and he is approximately 23 seconds ahead of Victor.
Plus, he just cuffed the cub around a little.
So let's go backstage now and see what our players have to say for themselves at halftime.
I did well in the first round, the general pop culture knowledge, but numbers and logic, kind of got beat up there a little. Ken Jennings, he's, I was well intimidated, because he is sort of the man around here, but, he's a pretty nice guy. I met him backstage, we had some rapport, but, I feel bad if I beat him, when I'll beat him.
I actually feel good. I feel confident after the numbers and logic. So I thought that was going to be my weak point. I'd have to make it up on the verbal and the swimsuit competition and whatever is next. But having done good on the math, that gives me a lot of confidence. Victor is the nicest guy in the world. I would like to beat him in the nicest way possible.
Hey, what's with all this Dr. Feelgood stuff about not wanting to beat each other? Might I remind you of Conan the Barbarian's quote, "The best thing is to meet your enemy on the field of battle, crush him beneath your feet, and hear the lamentations of his women." Secondly, I have seen Ken Jennings in a swimsuit, and he makes Borat look like Giselle Bundchen. Ken and Victor are now returning to the arena for our 3rd round in tonight's opening game. Words and letters. Oh, the applause hurts them.
Still trying to get the thought of Ken Jennings in a song out of my head. Now, again, this round is a really difficult one because it's nothing like either of these champions have played on a game show before. There are anagrams, jumbles, spellings, all sorts of word-related puzzles. And like you say, Victor, not as confident as Ken here.
Let's og ought the roar. Let's go to the floor.
Contestants, take your positions.
Good luck.
Luck?
Round 3 is the words and letters round. Ken has 3 switches. Victor has 2 switches left to use. Ken, you'll go first in this round. Your clock will begin to count down now. What newsman's name is an anagram of mob at work?
Switch.
Tom Brokaw.
Correct. Ken, what is the 15th letter of the English alphabet?
O.
Correct. Victor, besides New Jersey, what is the only other U.S. state whose name ends with the letter Y?
Kentucky.
Correct. Ken, what M is a city in India and a type of plaid fabric?
Madras.
Correct. Victor, what is the middle letter of the word jambalaya?
A.
Correct. Ken, what popular website can be found in this scramble?
YouTube.
Correct. Victor, what does the C stand for in the humanitarian organization known as UNICEF?
Pass.
Children's. Victor, what word of German origin means the ghostly double of a living person?
Doppelganger.
Correct. Ken, what is the middle letter of the word acknowledgement?
L.
E. What insect is hidden in this phrase?
Wasp.
Correct. Victor, Viewing the alphabet as a continuum, what letter comes 7 after W?
D?
Correct. Ken, what is the only member country of the European Union that begins with the letter E?
England.
Estonia. What famous actress's name is an anagram of skate hound?
Pass.
Kate Hudson. What 5-letter word links sky to hearted?
Light.
Correct. Victor, separate the world capital from its country in this jumble.
Reykjavik, Iceland.
Correct. Ken, in the internet chat lingo, the letters TTYL stand for what?
Talk to you later.
Correct. Victor, what actor and stand-up comedian is an anagram of rich corks?
Chris Rock.
Correct. Ken, which big cat is hidden in this phrase?
Leopard.
Correct. Victor, spelling backwards, spell abominable.
Switch.
E-L-B-A-N-I-M-O-B-A.
Correct. Victor, what is the middle letter of the word egregious?
G.
Correct. Ken, what number value is found on the face of a P tile? And Ken, you're out of time. The correct answer is 3. Victor, you keep 8.28 seconds to take through to the final round.
You know, there are Yeti in Tibet that can't spell abominable backwards. I don't know how he pulled that one off. It's made for an interesting last round.
I mean,
And he picked up 8 seconds there, I think, or something.
Getting closer together now. So I think the last round is going to be any man's game. These two nice guys. Less than 15 seconds between them, I believe, Dennis.
Yeah, well, I think you're seeing the very best of the game here. It's a duel diablo. You might be able to sit home and think, I know that one, I know that one. Put yourself in that thing when it's clicking by like that, and you got another killer right across, like 3 feet away, looking you right in the eye. Very fascinating. One more round to go until either Ken or Victor clinches a berth in the quarterfinals in the all-important final round when we come back. I'm Grant Slay.
And later on, Dr. Kevin Olmsted, Millionaire's #1 money winner of all time, and Michelle Kitt as the weakest link face off in another crucial qualifying match. Do not go anywhere.
All right, welcome back to the final round in our first qualifying matchup of the night. Jeopardy legend Jen Jennings. I might as well make a mistake if they're not going to. And World Series pop culture champion Victor Lee are about to face off once more to see who will land a spot in the quarterfinals. So what does Victor need to do? Not that far back.
Well,
15
he's not
seconds.
that far back.
Quick
Just
kid.
a little bit over 15 seconds. I think Victor needs to answer it a little bit more quickly. And it's going to be use of switches here. That's what's going to be key, because it's 20 out of 29 right for Ken and 19 out of 27 for Victor. So I reckon this should be a great finish.
Let's join our contestants as for the final time they are in the control of the question.
Contestants, take your positions.
Luck. Here we go.
Contestants, this is the final round. Ken, you kept 31.62 seconds from earlier rounds. You have a total of 1 minute, 31.62 seconds on your clock. Victor, you kept 16.98 seconds, so you will have 1 minute, 16.98 seconds on your clock. Both contestants receive an additional switch, which means Ken has 3 switches, Victor has 2. Victor, you'll go first in this round. Your clock will begin to count down now. Multiply the number of diamond playing cards in the standard deck with the number of vowels in the word 39.
Pass.
Victor, what Chinese herb is hidden in this phrase?
Pass.
Ginseng. Victor, what was the only state Walter Mondale carried in the electoral vote of the 1984 presidential? Correct. Ken, placed before an internet address, the abbreviation www stands for what?
World Wide Web.
Correct. Victor, what number is next in this sequence?
21?
22. What variety of apple shares its name with Japan's highest mountain?
Fuji.
Correct. Ken, the first forever stamp issued by the U.S. Postal Service in 2007 features a picture of what national treasure?
The Statue of Liberty.
Liberty Bell. How long is 6 hours, 11 minutes minus 3 hours, 4 minutes?
3 hours, 7 minutes.
Correct. Victor, what is the only South American country that's currently a member of OPEC?
Venezuela.
Correct. Ken, when rolling dice, what B represents a throw of a pair of 6s?
Boxcars.
Correct. Victor, who immediately preceded Tony Blair as British Prime Minister?
Pass.
John Major. Which is longer, 100 centimeters or 36 inches?
36 inches.
100 centimeters. What actor founded the Sundance Institute, which runs its annual
Robert
film
Redford.
festival? Correct. Ken, in a deck of American playing cards, the king of which suit is nicknamed the Suicide King?
Mark.
Correct. Victor, in a circle with a diameter of 6 inches, what is the length of its radius? 3 inches. What does the T stand for? The name of the cable channel known as TCM?
Turner.
Correct. Ken, what world city was formerly known as Constantinople?
Istanbul.
Correct. Victor, what singer's first and last name is an anagram of weekly cone snob?
Pass.
Switch.
Beyonce Knowles. Victor, what internet company's informal corporate motto is don't be evil?
Orbit.
Google. Victor, what high-profile businessman owns the rights to the Miss Universe pageant along with NBC? Correct. Ken, Poland spring bottled water is collected from sources within what U.S. state?
Vermont.
Maine. What is 7.4 minus 1.7?
5.7.
5.7. Ken, what two-time Academy Award-winning actress's surname is a synonym of posh?
Pass.
Hilary Swank. What letters would you add to the end of this city's name to create the country of which it is the
IA.
capital? Correct. Victor, what is 2/5 of 160? Victor, you're out of time. The correct answer is 64. Ken, you are tonight's Grand Slam winner.
Very nicely done.
Why didn't he use his switches?
Listen, moot point. Jennings, very impressive here. I think that Lee is actually a really good player, but I think this augurs well for Jennings in this tournament. He's, you know, he's
That's
just a
right.
grinder.
I feel like Victor just lost it halfway through in about 29 seconds. He nodded his head and he gave up. I think he gave up mentally. He
Yeah,
had
you
two
could
switches
see.
left that he didn't use. I mean, he could have...
Jennings often answers questions before they're completely out of the questioner's mouth. Lee often passed on questions before they were completely out of their mouth.
That's why Ken
Therein
Jennings
lies
is
the
champion
rub.
of champions.
Yeah. Congratulations to Ken Jennings. Let's go ahead now. Take a look at what's next for Ken as he advances through the brackets.
That's right. In the quarterfinals, he will be meeting up with Raheem Oberholzer or Phyllis Harris.
Ironic, my Citizen Band radio handle used to be Raheem Oberholzer. Coming up next, Olmsted Skip. Fight for a chance at $100,000. Don't miss it.
Millionaire's biggest winner, Kevin Olmsted, takes on the highest money earner from the weakest link, Michelle Kidd, in what figures to be a battle for the ages when Grand Slam returns.
I'm pretty happy about how it came out, considering that I didn't play so strong. So, but I'm very happy about the result.
In the end, you know, the better man won. You know, I'm not too bitter because I lost to a very worthy opponent. For the rest of the tournament, I think Ken's my man. You know, because the person who beats me, you know, is going to end up winning the whole thing. That's the way I look at it.
I don't think I've seen anybody act that graciously named Lee since Appomattox. Welcome back to the opening round of Grand Slam, where some of the biggest game show winners in American TV history are competing in their first ever national championship. In our first game of the night, Jennings wiped out Victor Lee, and now it's time for the second intriguing matchup.
Dr. Kevin Olmsted, our number 3 seed and winner of $2.2 million on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the most ever on that show, is taking on Michelle Kidd, who took home over $100,000 on The Weakest Link. Why don't we get to know them a bit better?
Kevin Olmsted, Ann Arbor, Michigan. I was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in April 2001.
One more question.
I'm going to make Sikorsky my final answer.
Just won $2 million.
When asked, how did your life change after Millionaire? It's the fact that I have broken out of my shell. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and any Toastmasters to be.
He has always been very, very giving of his celebrity.
And I, of course, bought a luxury automobile. Okay, it was a luxury minivan. Main reason for going on the show is to challenge myself against this very elite field.
Michelle Kidd, Glen Allen, Virginia. I was on The Weakest Link, and I won $107,500.
Michelle is a very well-rounded individual.
I entered a bodybuilding competition. I like to have good balance in my life, so I teach spinning at my gym. I also volunteer at a restaurant that trains individuals with cognitive and physical disabilities to work in the restaurant industry.
I think that Michelle will do very well on this game show.
I think I have just as good a chance as anybody else. Weakest Link is rapid fire. You got to worry about the clock. You got to watch the bank. It's the closest thing to Grand Slam.
All right, so now it's time for Kevin and Michelle to enter the arena.
So it looks like our contestants are ready for round 1. So for the first time tonight, they are now in the control of the questioner.
Contestants, take your positions. Round 1 1 is a general knowledge round. Earlier you tossed a coin to see who should go first, and Kevin, you lost, so you'll answer the first question. Your clock will start to count down now. In humans, what blood type is known as the universal recipient?
AB.
Correct. Michelle, what character from Greek mythology flew too close to the sun and melted his wings?
Pass.
Icarus. What is the second most expensive property on a standard Monopoly board?
Park Place.
Correct. Kevin, what 1996 film introduced the catchphrase, "Show me the money"?
Pass.
Jerry Maguire. In 2007, Saturday Night Live alumnus Al Franken announced his candidacy for U.S. Senate in what state?
Minnesota.
Correct. Michelle, KKD is the New York Stock Exchange ticker symbol for what morning treat manufacturer?
Krispy Kreme donuts.
Correct. Kevin, what famous battle is popularly known as Custer's Last Stand?
Little Bighorn.
Correct. Michelle, the Hawaiian word for quick is prominently featured in the name of what online encyclopedia?
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia. Michelle, what security company is known for its bulletproof armored trucks has been in operation since 1859?
Pass.
Brinks. What rap artist's real name is Robert Van Winkle?
Vanilla Ice.
Correct. Kevin, the lampshade-like collar that injured pets wear takes its name from what era of the British monarchy?
Victorian.
Elizabethan. What nickname is often applied to the brass-colored mineral pyrite?
Iron.
Fool's gold. The infamous French penal colony Devil's Island was located off the coast of what continent?
South America.
Correct. Michelle, what type of bird is central to the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner?
Switch.
Albatross.
Correct. Michelle, what actor pilots his own Boeing 707 and in 2002 became an ambassador for Qantas Airlines?
Pass.
John Travolta. Traditionally, what color is 0 slot on a standard roulette wheel in Las Vegas?
Red.
Green. Singer Gordon Sumner is better known by what name?
Sting.
Correct. Michelle, you're out of time. Kevin, you keep 17.98 seconds to take through to the final round.
Interesting thing about that round is I don't have quite a toehold in the heightened intellectual climes that these people dwell in, but I do know one thing for sure in this universe. Vanilla Ice is not a rap artist.
He isn't?
It was a freak show.
Well, you know, I'm actually surprised here because I thought Michelle would have had a leg up because she's the only contestant we have that was from Weakest Link, which is the most similar format to Grand Slam with rapid-fire questions, so I think she's under pressure here.
Well, in today's society, it's not really condoned for a woman to have a leg up. There's lots more Grand Slam to come. We'll see if Kevin and Michelle are up to the challenge of the numbers and logic round when we return. Well, welcome back to Grand Slam, folks. Our second game of the night featuring Millionaire's reigning king, Dr. Kevin Olmsted, battling it out with Weakest Link champ and former professional bodybuilder Michelle Kidd. If I was to comment on that first round, kind of remind me of the first round in a nice boxing match, you know? Just trying to time each other, extend the jab out, see how much space they have between each other. Each of them are looking to secure entry into the quarterfinals. The first, they have to get through the dreaded numbers and logic round.
That's right. Well, you said it correctly. It's anyone's game here because 17.98 seconds is all Michelle is behind Kevin.